Paul and Joshua happening in December? Anything, any prediction on how it will go? Yeah, if it's not handicapped, Anthony Joshua will knock him out.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
I respect them both. It's not a fight I even thought of. It's nothing to do with me to start with. It come out of the blue, but it's intriguing. And I think from Jake's perspective, he's had a lot of criticism about he is a pro boxer now. The way you want to look at it, he trains as a pro, but and he's fighting as a pro.
Rules, 10-ounce gloves. So they're the little ones that I knock people out with. And when AJ's got them on, trust me, you can feel them knuckles through the gloves. Big heavyweight with the same size gloves as what I had on. So it's not 14 or 16 ounces what you spar in.
Shannon Sharpe now steps toward Jake Paul live on air while questioning Anthony Joshua. Picture the turmoil. It moves like one of those scenes that gets replayed through years. Jake Paul has been shaping out a strange and bold road from YouTuber to boxing spotlight. The idea of him facing against Anthony Joshua is already huge news. People are arguing whether it is clever matchmaking or a circus show. The fight rumors, the Netflix noise, the ticket rush. All of that forms the backdrop that makes a confrontation like this feel so volatile. Now bring Shannon. He is a Hall of Famer, a voice that commands respect within sports circles. He did not rise to where he stands by accident. He has beliefs and he stands behind them. So when a host like him feels what he sees as disrespect toward the roots of the sport, he does not quiet. He speaks forcefully. That is the emotional force behind this moment.
I think Anthony Joshua won the gold medal. Didn't he win the gold medal for the super heavyweights in the Olympics?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know Anthony Joshua's history, but I'm thinking about ring experience. That's pretty much it. And I commend Jake Paul for what he's done. I commend him for the work he's put in and how serious he's taken the sport. From going from a YouTuber and actually taking it seriously and dedicating his life to boxing and entertaining, in his own lane and creating a lane for himself in the sport. So you can't handicap a fight like this too, It's not.
He won the gold medal, Ocho, in the 2012 Olympics in London.
Yeah.
And the super heavyweight, same one Klitschko, the same one.
Here does a charged moment like this suddenly unfold? First, Jake does what Jake brings. He boldly speaks. He pushes. He sets online spaces on edge. Sometimes he pushes boundaries deliberately or not. He challenges old icons. He boasts about moments. And he presents himself as the loudest name in boxing right now. That confidence can feel earned to his followers and frustrating to traditionalists. Then Shannon rises up and the room falls silent. Sharpe's reaction was not sudden. It was layered. First layer, honor the sport. There is a genuine belief that boxing is not only spectacle. It is tough work, history, and risk. Fighters like Anthony Joshua have given time and sweat into shaping a legacy. When a newcomer jumps into that world and earns a place at the main event stage quickly, it can feel to some like the craft is being diminished. Shannon's voice often carries that protective, almost guiding tone for sports he cherishes. That gives his words weight, second layer, moral accountability. Shannon does not let ego slide. If Jake has been provocative, if he has said things that seem to diminish fighters or soften the danger of the ring, Sharpe will call it out. And he does. Picture the rhythm, a rising voice, a direct question. Then comes the line everyone locks onto. This is bull. It becomes the rare live moment that makes even casual viewers lean in. People replay it because it carries honesty with force. What spills out after is the real story. Social feeds ignite. Fans divide. Some applaud Shannon for protecting the sport. Others insist he is old school and needs to move with the times. Jake's supporters claim that he brings eyes, new money, and a wider audience to boxing. And that friction between honoring tradition and chasing evolution is the debate every mainstream fight stirs now. You do not need to choose a side to feel the charge. Here is what this collision reveals. Boxing now stands at a crossroads where legacy fighters, celebrity boxers, streaming platforms, and viral moments all intersect. A single live confrontation can become shorthand for the entire argument. Did the sport gain because it sits in the spotlight? Or did it lose something when the narrative shifted toward clicks and noise? That is the question fans will be arguing while they wait for the bell to ring. At the end of the day, moments like this do one thing well. They get people speaking. They move the needle on what big fights represent in 2025. Whether you believe Shannon was right to challenge it or Jake was right to keep the show rolling, the slice of chaos is a reminder that boxing is alive, it is untidy, it is emotional, and when sports and media collide, sparks rise. The fight was the subject of social media buzz had been swirling for days before the official confirmation. Few imagined Jake Paul would face a former two-time heavyweight world champion until it was confirmed he would collide with Anthony Joshua in Miami, Florida on December 19. Last week, Logan Paul ran into UFC Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier while both were recording podcasts in the same building. Seizing the chance, Jake Paul's older brother pressed Cormier about the looming Anthony Joshua fight. After realizing that the strange Netflix discrepancy was real, DC seemed to feel every emotion. Logan told Cormier that the rumors about his brother's next bout were accurate. Cormier added, "There must be rules in place for Anthony Joshua. This is where people are gearing up, especially these MMA guys. I keep saying, stop treating Jake like he isn't a boxer. It's been 5 years now of real boxing with elite coaches and top training partners. He's improved a lot. He can fight, man." Logan jumped in. "Yeah, but what about Anthony Joshua? That's rough, bro." Cormier replied, sending everyone in the room into laughter. Since being knocked out by Daniel Dubois in September 2024, Anthony Joshua has not fought. Still, the 36-year-old is completely sure he will stage a stunning comeback when he faces Jake Paul next month. Once the fight was officially announced, Joshua promised to dominate the internet by defeating his 121 opponent. "Jake or anyone can get this work. No mercy," the British legend said in a statement. He added, "I took a break, and I'm returning with a mega show. This is a huge opportunity for me, whether you like it or not. I'm here to deliver massive numbers, headline big fights, and break records while staying calm, collected, and focused. Mark my words, you'll see more fighters chase these chances in the future. I'm about to break the internet over Jake Paul's face." Meanwhile, Tyson Fury's prediction for Anthony Joshua's upcoming fight against Jake Paul, just 1 month away, has emerged. Online, Fury, Joshua's distant rival, told Ring magazine, "I think Jake Paul knocks him out. I think AJ is spent, and I think Jake Paul is on the rise. I like his new heavyweight frame. He is slightly chubby, slightly bulky. He is getting there." At 28, Paul has mostly fought at cruiserweight. But last November, he moved into heavyweight, the division once favored by legend Mike Tyson, and won a points decision over the 58-year-old former champ. The American is set to face AJ, 36, in a heavyweight clash in Miami on December 19. The bout is scheduled for 8 3-minute rounds, both using standard 10-ounce gloves. Joshua will be limited to 245 pounds the day before the fight. AJ is still linked to a highly anticipated bout with 37-year-old compatriot Fury, whom Joshua had nearly faced before. Fury's future remains uncertain. He officially retired in January after a second consecutive defeat to Alexander Usyk. Though the Gypsy King has retired multiple times before, Paul was slated to fight unbeaten lightweight champion Gervonta Davis on November 14, but the fight was cancelled after an investigation following Davis's battery allegation by an ex-girlfriend. Paul and his partner Nikisa Badarian, CEO of Most Valuable Promotions, listed several fighters willing to face Paul afterward, including AJ, while noting Fury's half-brother, Tommy, declined. Tommy said, "Offering me the fight in America, a place I can't reach right now. Convenient. Offer me the same $15 million anywhere else in the world, and I'll be there in 8 weeks to shut you up and repeat what I did first." Tommy Fury, who outpointed the American in 2023, remains the only person to defeat Paul. Meanwhile, British legend Carl Froch delivered a harsh verdict on Joshua's career, claiming the former champ's prime is over, even if he beats Paul. Froch said on his YouTube channel he questioned whether this damaged AJ's legacy and, without being cruel, wondered what legacy AJ truly had. He added that AJ's legacy, in his eyes, was bringing boxing back to the spotlight and repeatedly filling stadiums, maybe 4 or 5 times. He noted that he himself had done 80,000 at Wembley in 2014 and argued AJ had built on momentum others had sparked. Froch recalled his and George Groves's Wembley show was a post-war attendance record, which AJ had carried forward. He admitted AJ had fought big fights, enjoyed public support, and, after rising from the canvas against Vladimir Klitschko, had been propelled to success. Yet, Froch added, when AJ faced elite competition, he faltered even at mediocre levels, citing the Andy Ruiz defeat, when he was badly beaten. He noted AJ lost twice to Alexander Usyk and was flattened by Daniel Dubois, which, in Froch's view, marked the end of him over a year ago. Froch believes Joshua is merely cashing in on opportunities in what he calls the clown world. With both British star and Paul set to earn millions from their matchup, Froch remains skeptical that Joshua has truly cemented his legacy in boxing's Hall of Fame before retiring.
Consider, is AJ cashing out? Well, I did say a year ago when he got splattered by Daniel Dubois that he's finished now. He won't get that confidence back. He's not had any confidence, in his head. no belief for a long time. And I don't think he can get back to world level. There's a couple of new young guns now coming up and coming through. It's like a changing of the guard. And when Usyk retires, I don't know what Daniel Dubois is going to do next, but what Daniel Dubois did to him, then he went on and lost to Usyk. But there's a few new heavyweights coming through, Moses Atalma, just to mention one. And you wouldn't start putting AJ in with any of these young up-and-comers that can punch hard, because I just don't think he's got the chance, because the ambition and the desire is going to be gone. So AJ most definitely is cashing out, and you can't fault him. Fair play to him. He's going to get a massive payday, maximise his exit route.
Fruck added that for him, AJ's legacy was what he had done for boxing, bringing the sport back to the public and drawing in crossover armchair fans. He said people came to watch AJ not necessarily because they loved boxing, but because they wanted to witness a major event and a massive spectacle, which benefited the sport and put eyes on boxing. However, Fruck argued that defined AJ's legacy and that he had not had a Hall of Fame career. He emphasized that to deserve the Hall of Fame, one needed consecutive world title defenses and victories over elite opponents, which should be acknowledged without disparaging AJ. He admitted that the Paul fight slightly damaged the legacy because, in his view, AJ was competing in the clown world, yet noted it was big money and AJ was cashing out, and overall this came at considerable cost to his legacy. Despite the vast gap in class and experience, David Benavidez praised Paul for taking on such a formidable challenge. While Joshua is expected to handle his inexperienced opponent easily, he said, I give 100% respect to Jake Paul, but that's a dangerous fight for him. He probably gets knocked out. And I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm not saying anything bad, but Anthony Joshua is Anthony Joshua. Benavidez added, he's a multiple-time champion, an Olympic gold medalist. The last time someone entered the ring with him with so little experience it was Nanu, and you've seen what happened. But big respect to Jake Paul. It's going to be a great card. It's a huge fight, and it's a good fight, man. I mean, I give 100% respect to Jake Paul for even accepting that fight. On the other hand, Lawrence Akoli has offered Jake Paul his guidance ahead of his December showdown with Anthony Joshua. The former cruiserweight world champion, who sparred extensively with AJ while serving as Joshua's manager, now wants to help Paul stay competitive inside the ring. I want to go and help Jake Paul and give him a chance. I want to head out to Puerto Rico. The offer is there, Akoli said Tuesday from his training base in Dubai. He added, I know I have a fight coming, but I'll go out for a couple of weeks. I want to see what it is. That allows Jake Paul to tell himself, I'm going in there with a 250 pounds muscle man from England. This huge guy, Olympic gold, former two-time heavyweight champion, in front of millions on Netflix. I need to know. Maybe he has a secret I don't, but I want to see it before the fight. Akoli, now a bona fide heavyweight and WBC's top-ranked contender, holds the rare distinction of having sparred with both Paul and Joshua over the years. While he isn't backing Paul to win, Akoli believes the American could still pose Joshua a few challenges in the ring. His true test, however, will come if he manages to find any success against the 36-year-old, who stands 6 feet 6 inches and is expected to weigh over 250 pounds on fight night. He added, I'm not going to pretend it isn't a huge difference in size, skill, all around. But you know what? Stranger things have happened, so let's see. Asked if he expects Joshua, a man with 25 knockouts and 28 professional wins, to finish Paul in round 1, Akoli disagreed. He said, for some reason, I don't think so. From what I've seen of AJ, I don't think he's going to land a massive right hand and end it in 30 seconds. I do think, though, if Jake Paul starts connecting, it will be like, okay. Akoli noted that when sparring someone not quite at your level, you gauge how much force to put into shots and learn to slip, and noted that AJ hadn't been in the ring for some time and might treat the fight as a workout. He added that if Jake Paul landed a clean shot and didn't finish him the first time, that was when it would get interesting. Though he admitted stranger things had happened and he wasn't certain. He said, I think AJ has reach and size. So unless you land very clever punches without being pushed off, it'll be hard to find a rhythm. That's his biggest challenge. We don't know what his coaches are thinking, or why they chose Anthony Joshua. Maybe they see something none of us can. We'll find out soon enough. At one point, Akoli insisted he could never fight Joshua because his mother wouldn't allow it, given how much Joshua had done for his career. Akoli laughs now. He said, well, she'd allow it now. Put it that way, she would. I wouldn't say she's upset with AJ. She's just more on me. It would be the ultimate Nigeria headliner. Now, it seems Anthony Joshua has put himself in a no-win spot, says Johnny Nelson. Nelson told Sky Sports News, it seems there's 50 million reasons why AJ is taking this fight. In my mind, I never thought this would happen. Why? Because of AJ's desire to be in the history books as a 3-time world champion. To me, it shows his ambition. This is now business. He added, the weight limit is 245 pounds for Joshua. Last time he weighed around that was against Usyk. That means he must be fighting fit, because his last fight he was 254 pounds against Daniel Dubois. It's serious. This is a fight, not a push and pull. Remember McGregor and Mayweather, if this is a real fight, Jake Paul is brave and it'll be fascinating to see. Joshua's promoter Eddie Hearn emphasized this will be a legitimate contest with both fighters using 10-ounce gloves, the standard for professional heavyweight bouts. Nelson said, I believe it will be because AJ is involved. AJ will take criticism for this, but money talks. AJ is in a no-win situation. If he goes in there, Jake Paul lasts the distance. What does that tell you about AJ? If he goes in and knocks him out, then you'd say that's expected. There's probably little glory beyond the haters of Jake Paul saying, I've taken out this kid. Nelson said Jake Paul has now captured everyone's attention and must back up his claims. He explained that while people can play sports like football, golf, and tennis, boxing is not something you can play. He suggested most viewers would watch hoping to see Paul finally get his mouth shut and hoping the best version of Anthony Joshua shows up. According to Nelson, if that version appeared, it would be a comfortable, satisfying night for boxing purists. However, if another version of Joshua turned up and struggled with Paul, then Joshua would need to reflect on whether he'd become more of a businessman, a bounty hunter and prizefighter, than a true boxer. Joshua hasn't fought since his knockout defeat to Dubois in their IBF World Heavyweight title bout last September. Nelson now questions whether the former 2-time champion can ever reach his peak again. Anthony Joshua's chances of becoming world champion have grown slimmer and smaller, said Nelson. He added, the biggest fight out there, aside from Jake Paul, is probably Tyson Fury. He makes more money, more headlines than any world champion, and he isn't even boxing for the title. Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua have both seized the opportunities presented by the current state of boxing. Nelson said Joshua was knocked out by Daniel Dubois, and one would expect him to want to immediately prove himself, but he hasn't indicated that. He suggested Joshua may feel his best days are behind him. And while he would never say so publicly, he must make the most of what remains. Nelson added that while Joshua used to be the world's best as heavyweight champion, by agreeing to fight Jake Paul, he must know he'll face criticism from traditional fans, yet the bout could generate around 50 million plus. And if Joshua knocks Paul out, he can move on. Anyone honest wouldn't pass up that opportunity, Nelson argued, and Joshua should take the fight and get on with business. Meanwhile, promoter Frank Warren insists Anthony Joshua's showdown with Jake Paul has "car crash" written all over it. Warren told ESPN it's a major moment for Paul, who is a massive underdog that everyone expects to lose. He said the fight looks like a car crash waiting to happen, but people will watch, and viewing figures will be huge. Warren added Joshua is taking the money, choosing a safe option, and he'd much rather see Joshua in the ring with Moses Adama.
It's not a fight I even thought of. It's nothing to do with me to start with. It come out of the blue, but it's intriguing. And I think from Jake's perspective, he's had a lot of criticism about, he is a pro boxer now. The way you want to look at it, he trains as a pro, but, and he's fighting as a pro. They said it's about time he fought some. I've seen some of the stuff, that's been said. When's he going to fight someone? Well, he's gone from one extreme to the other. That's what he's doing. So if that fight happens, you've got to take your hat off to him.
He got called out by Andre Ward, AJ. Would you rather see Jake fight AJ, which is obviously, as we know, a mismatch, or Andre Ward, who's been retired for, 4 years?
I'd much rather see AJ fight Tyson.
Oh, please. I dread to think how many times
we don't know if that's
going to
happen because the big man, he's filming, he's not made his mind up what he's going to do.
It's believed Joshua will still face Fury in a highly anticipated matchup next year, even if he goes through the contentious fight with Paul. Eddie Hearn, Joshua's promoter, said last week they aim to make the bout happen with Turki Al-Sheikh, chairman of Saudi Arabia's General Entertainment Authority, expected to help broker a deal. Al-Sheikh confirmed Joshua is set to fight in February with plans to target Fury in 2026. Hearn revealed a side deal was nearly finalized, though Warren noted Fury will ultimately have the final call. Warren said Tyson will decide what he wants. All it's about with Tyson is whether he wants to do it and how much money. Talks are ongoing. The one to take it is Tyson if he wants it. If the offer's right, he'll do it. Ariel Helwani has shared his thoughts on the bout. Helwani rejected the idea that a Paul Joshua fight tarnishes Joshua's legacy, pointing out that legends like Muhammad Ali and George Foreman also participated in so-called gimmick bouts. Ultimately, he emphasized it's still prize fighting. However, Helwani expressed serious concern for Paul's health, referencing Nanu's experience and how he remained motionless after being knocked out. He said, "The fair debate around Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua is safety. It is an exaggeration to say people die in boxing. Does this fight put Jake Paul at extreme risk of serious injury?" He added, "I'll never forget that Francis fight. Francis Ngannou had never been rocked, knocked down, or knocked out. He was out cold, not moving for what seemed like forever. That's frightening." Meanwhile, Jake Paul has boldly declared he will defeat Anthony Joshua. Despite heavy criticism from the boxing community, Paul remains confident about his chances against the two-time heavyweight champ. The fight has sparked controversy given Joshua's accolades and clear weight advantage. Jake Joseph Paul, will knock out, defeat, and embarrass Anthony Joshua. Friday, December 19th, live on Netflix, he declared on his official YouTube channel, making 3 promises. Joshua, sidelined since his devastating knockout loss to Daniel Dubois in September 2024, sees this bout as a tune-up ahead of his anticipated February return. As the fight draws near, several prominent voices have weighed in. Rising heavyweight Moses Itama, in particular, questioned why the American agreed to take the fight. He said, "Jake Paul needs to fire his advisors. People telling him to make these fights, that's not smart." He continued, "Sure, there's money to be made, but it's absurd. I don't think Jake Paul is bad for boxing. I think he's good. I like Jake Paul. You see what he's doing with women's boxing too, and I'm not saying he shouldn't take the fight." Despite all the buzz, Paul remains resolute in proving his doubters wrong again. "This isn't an AI simulation. This is Judgment Day," he said. Jake added, "A professional heavyweight fight against an elite world champion in his prime. When I beat Anthony Joshua, every doubt disappears, and no one can deny me the chance to fight for a world title. To all my haters, this is what you wanted." So, that's all from today's video. Stay tuned, and we'll catch you in the next.